Welcome to the Family Office, planning for the people who matter most.
Well, speaking of get out of free cards, as we switch up gears here,
Know where you're going.
We could do a special here. Yeah, that's a good one. What are your thoughts, Len? Because this is serious, and I think he knows it's serious, and I don't think it's not. I think it is serious. I mean, it looks serious. I looked at a couple things today. But what are your thoughts about the probe, the DOJ probe, and the investigation into Newsom and his wife, and the unfiled or behested? Like, did you see the list? By the way, some serious coin, serious coin coming in. I mean, that we all know he's dirty. I mean, he's been dirty since his personal drama that he had when he was lieutenant, or he was mayor, and then he was lieutenant governor or heir apparent to Jerry Brown. I mean, this guy's been in office for decades. We already know he was dirty. You could just tell by his hair that he's dirty. I mean, anybody's got hair like that, in the way he talks, right? So I don't want to talk about anybody, but I mean, seriously, what do you think is going to go on there? What's your thoughts on that as a current Californian?
All right, Newsom. So here are a couple of facts. So his wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, and she started a foundation, and it was around gender equity. It's called the California Partners Project. And so one of the issues is that Reuters says that her nonprofit received $4 million raised by Gavin Newsom for some of the donors that also do business with California. So think about lobbyists and people who have a financial interest and saying, "Oh, I'll support your wife's nonprofit, but help us out so we can, shake each other's hands." That's one thing. And then the other thing is, there's another report back in 2021. The Sacramento Bee said that Jennifer Siebel Newsom's nonprofit paid her more than $2.3 million since its founding. So the Department of Justice has recently gone after them starting in 2025, but the Sacramento Bee's been going, and investigating them for quite a long time. Now, obviously, Sacramento Bee, they're just investigative journalists, but nonetheless, there's enough smoke there to suggest there's some improprieties. And earlier you talked about Gavin Newsom was charged $31,500 for failing to timely file 18 behested payment reports. And essentially what behested means is like a public disclosure of donations and solicitations. And so because he was late in filing that, he had to pay a late fee. So there's two things. One is that there's smoke there. There is a legitimate reason to investigate both Gavin Newsom and his wife, Jennifer, based on taking money and raising money over the period of years and years and years. Now, his argument was, he went on TV and he's like, "Look, you can come after me, but leave my wife out of it." Well, as men, we have a desire to protect our wives. Now, if his wife is wrong, she should be investigated. And if she's liable, she should be held to account. And so I agree with all of those things. And I think that it's important for us, like for me, when I look at Gavin Newsom, I look at him from the standpoint of, okay, I'm going to judge you based on your record. I'm going to judge you based on your dealings. And to me, he deserves to be at least called out, and his wife deserves to be called out for some opportunities that they took advantage of, potentially, of soliciting funds and using donors to, line up their pocketbooks for other favors. Now, they have not been found criminally liable. They have not been convicted. And so we have to see what happens with the investigation. But I think that we should have energy in saying, regardless of how you feel about Gavin Newsom, if there's smoke, there's fire. And at least there is some evidence that there's a suggestion that there was some ethics that were gray on the on one end, at least there's been that. On the other end, they've been using their political positioning for economic gain on the other end. So I definitely, I think there should be some other investigations. And also the other one is that Dana Williams was his former chief of staff. She also worked for the Biden.
Criminally, right?
She's been found guilty. You said she pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bank fraud. And so that's, that's a pretty damning, person to be associated with. That is
close
not
to
a
the
good
fire.
look. It's not a good
close
look.
to the fire.
100%. It's not a good look.
I just think the overall underlining fact that it smells the worst here, and I think everybody's waking up to it and seeing it, is when did all these politicians and how did all these politicians become so wealthy? And it's not just a few, it's a lot of them are wealthy and very successful and have no prior business success before politics. So it's like, how did this happen all of a sudden? And Len, I know how hard you work. I know how hard I work. And I'm going, what am I doing wrong here, dude? Because like, what's going on with these politicians?
The political game is a very profitable game. That is a fact.
And then you stack on that the fraud that's going on with everything. I just think it creates a perfect opportunity for a lot of people to be extremely upset and a lot of people to be extremely irritated with the thing. Look, I don't think anything's going to happen to him unless they actually really find the dirt. And I think there's probably some dirt there. I mean, how do you get that wealthy? I mean, I just don't understand it. So there's probably some really slimy cronyism that's gone on there, but I don't think anything will get found out. I think if anything, it's there to throw him off from trying to do anything political outside, because he knows he knows he's cooked anyways, because California is shambles. I mean, everybody knows that. No one's going to argue that. The shambles, and he's out of office here in a couple of months, in a few months, whatever it is, right? It's at the end of this year. Is it the end of this year he's out?
Yeah. Next election cycle, they get a new governor.
He doesn't really, I think what Gavin is trying to do right now is he's trying not to be the next Kamala Harris. I don't think and what I mean by that is that she's pretty much obscure now. I mean, no one's going to elect her. Did you see the poll where she even polls better than him?
I haven't seen that.
They polled it, and Kamala Harris still polls better than Gavin nationally. So I think Gavin Newsom's coming out of there and going, I mean, because you imagine that type of ego, Len, like, what are you going to do now, bro? Like, what does he do after leaving the governorship of California? Because the guy's been in public office since.
Dude, he's going to run for president. We all know
so?
that.
I don't think he has a chance,
brother. He's definitely going to run, and he even alluded to it. He gave a video, like a talk, just a couple of days ago, and he said, the reason why this is all happening is because I've been considering running for the 2028 election. Trump, you can come after me, but leave my wife out of this. And so he didn't make any announcement that he was running, but he's not denying that he's going to run. So, but here's the question that I have for you, Chris. When you look at politicians on both sides of the aisle, I'm talking Republicans, Democrats, independents, people who serve in the local legislature, all the way up to the Senate and the House.
Yep.
When the system is set up where, okay, if I'm an assemblyman, this is kind of how the lobbyists work. They'll find somebody who is already aligned with some of their thoughts and some of their beliefs and ideologies, right? And so then what they do is they see that this is a person that's up and coming. So they groom them over time and they say, hey, listen, you can run for city council. Okay, I see that now you're city council. Go for the assembly position and then go for, the House and go for the Senate. And so if you've been, in the game since you're in your 20s and you're smart and you're ambitious and you want to make a living, but you also want to make a difference, and you see these people with deep pockets that's able to pave your way to the top. Once you get to a level where you're making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars and all of these different dealings, and you've been in that space for so much time, how does one decide to walk away from all of that. Because because here's the thing. If I'm in an environment where I'm seduced all the time by the things that I want and it's always around me and there's a way for me to get it, how many people out of 100 walk away from that? So I'm not at all excusing politicians for doing what they're doing. What I'm saying is that there's other outside forces that are influencing their thinking and paving their way with regard to how much money they make and how what they can do and under the guise of making a difference and being a public servant. But they're almost groomed. How do you overcome that?
I think that's a very big point that you make. And it's not just in politics. It also is in entertainment. I mean, it's
100%.
Who is the girl that just
athletics, entertainment, politics, 100%.
The Lilo and Stitch gal. Did you hear about that? That she just passed away? The girl Lilo and Stitch.
I did not.
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, rest in peace, right? Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch directors honor Davy Chase. Dava Chase. I don't know, I'm probably saying her name wrong, but she was the actor or actress. She's young gal in Lilo and Stitch.
Wow.
Yeah, and she just recently passed away.
Oh, yeah.
At 35.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, I see. Yes.
Okay. So she just passed away at 35. Wow. And they were showing, so obviously I was watching some stuff about it. And this to your point. And there's a video of Diddy. And she's like 14 and she's at the award show and Diddy comes up to her and goes, "You coming to the after party, right? You coming to the after party, right?" Like asked her twice. I'm going,
14, brother. Are you serious?
This is when she was little, right?
Bro.
And I'm like, bro, like, you're right, Len. How do you? Because it's in entertainment, it's in sports, it's in freaking politics, it's in all of it, the grooming stuff, all of it. It's in all of it. So to answer your question, I don't know, Len, because it's very difficult. It's very difficult today
because you're fighting human nature. That's the thing. Like when you get like if it's easy for us. Again, I'm not giving any of it a pass. It's easy for us on the outside that doesn't have the same access, that's not bombarded with all of that all the time, to say, "Oh yeah, we're good and you're bad." I'm just saying that considering the amount of exposure they get, there's got to be a way to combat that, but I just don't know what that is. Like, because you can't legislate morality. How do you create guardrails especially for politicians? Because, there's got to be some type of campaign finance reform, because, I mean, you can find ways to make campaign contributions where they're indebted to you. Where I think that lady that contributed $300 million, the Iranian, Israeli. Well, go ahead.
What'd she donate to? I don't know what you're talking about. Who donated $300 million?
It was a lady to Trump. It was $300 million for the Gaza thing. But go ahead. I'll get that information, so I'm not just talking.
I think the problem is this, Linus, is that we're so focused on all these stupid things all the time. Like, for example, the Strait of Hormuz. Mm-hmm. We're focused on the Strait of Hormuz, but we're not focused on all the kids being trafficked all over the place, right?
Good
like,
point.
For example, I don't remember the name of the guy, but there's this girl. She was this lady. She was just recently on his show, and she's talking about the loophole on how you can adopt children and then traffic them, because there's a loophole with it. And she breaks it down, and I'm going, well, see, that's the problem. And Congress knows about this loophole. And we could probably talk about this later or on a different show and see more facts, but look into it, because I will too, because I just started looking into it, because the child trafficking thing is just absolutely crazy. And the reason why I look up the child trafficking thing is because Becerra could potentially be governor of California, and he was under scrutiny and all that stuff under the Biden administration for this stuff. So
just a quick fact check, $100 million from Miriam Adelson. That's who I was referring to.
Oh, that's the casino stuff, right? Adelson. Yeah.
But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to make sure I didn't throw something out there.
What was the point though with her donation?
The point is that people having donors and having access to pockets puts you in a position to be corrupted, because you're going to feel like you have to scratch their back if they help you out that much.
I mean, look, at this point, you shouldn't be able to get quid pro quo for donations. I don't know. There's some kind of legislation. I don't know. I guess I haven't looked into it enough to know how the system works. I just know that you're absolutely right. It's human nature. You can't give someone new money and then expect, not to them ask you, it's like a favor, like you'd rather somebody owe you a favor rather than owe you money, because a favor is so obtuse. You could go so much, it's so much more powerful. And think about that. Yeah. You're underneath someone's thumb. Anytime someone gives you something, you're under their thumb. That's the age old saying. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And that absolutely, bro, is the freaking truth. There is absolutely no such thing as a free lunch. Everything has a freaking cost. And that's what socialists don't understand. Socialists don't understand whether it's
that's a fact.
And here's where they really get lost, and this makes their brains blow up. They don't understand human capital, and what I mean by that is that they probably do actually understand it. I actually am probably being ignorant here, and they're probably smarter than me. What I mean by that is that maybe they just play dumb. I don't know, but socialists don't understand that. And maybe they should read Atlas Shrugged. They don't understand that eventually people will stop doing things if they're not incentivized to do it. And people don't want to be equal. And what I mean by that is that I don't want, if I don't have the ability to look at you, Len, and say, I want the option to potentially have a better car than Len, that's going to kill you deep down inside. Because human beings are competitive and they want that. That's a human condition. They want those things. I want a bigger cave. I want a prettier bone in my wife's hair, going 2,000 years back, right? Just kind of being silly with it. But that is exactly what socialists don't understand.
I want a prettier wife.
Yeah. I don't want to live. Like, exactly. This is exactly
human nature. Human nature.
We were talking about this the other day. Have you seen this, Len? It's popular here in Texas, but now it's becoming a problem where you see whole subtracts with like 150 houses in it, and they're only rentals. You understand what I'm saying? So like imagine imagine your housing, you live in a housing tract, right? Like a master plan. Imagine your whole tract, Len, is owned by ABC company, and they're all renters. No one can ever own the houses in there. Do you understand what I'm talking about? That's crazy.
Exactly what you're talking about.
And I said, do you know why it's becoming a problem? I said, because you walk out of your door every day and you go, shoot, I can never be better than the guy across the street from me because he's a renter too, or he doesn't own that house. We're all in the same situation. We're all renting the same house. Like, can you imagine that? That's communism. It's like a morphed, retarded way of capital communism, right? Or democratic socialism, right? Democratic. So yeah, I want a bigger car than you. I want a bigger house than you. Maybe I don't. Maybe I want to go buy a classic car, and my classic car is more expensive than your modern car. But I want to be able to drive around in a 1963 Chevy. I don't know. See, that's the thing that socialists don't get. They don't understand that people work and kill themselves to work because it's theirs. They feel accomplished for getting it.
I think socialism is one of the worst economic systems because it's so insidious. And let me explain what I mean. People in power who look to exercise socialism as an economic system, they promise the world, which is you get free healthcare, you get free transportation, you get free education, and people are naturally inclined to want the path of least resistance. So the overwhelming majority of people want something for nothing. But you also have the problem is by the time people buy into that, it's already too late, because once the economic system is set up and then people begin to rise up, now they have no power because they don't have a way to fight against the power structure that has been created under a socialist regime, because now the people are fighting against the governmental system. And so when you have people, to your point, that says, look, I'm willing to go out and bust my butt to go and have a bigger house, to go out and have a better vacation, to go out and have a nicer car. That's a smaller percentage of the population, but that small percentage of the population is what creates the jobs for the other people who don't want to take the time to take the risk. And that's the reason why capitalism works and socialism does not work. Because under a capitalistic system, as long as it's fueled by democracy, the people are the ones that are supposed to control who gets into power to represent their points of views. And so coming back to this conversation about people gaining power on their rise by being supported by lobbyists and by being supported by different finance contributions, then what ends up happening is they get corrupted along the way. So instead of serving the people, they end up serving the interest of themselves and of the people who are supporting them. And that's where this whole thing gets corrupted. And so having capitalism with democracy gives us the best opportunity to have the representation of the people, by the people, and for the people, but it's individual corruptions and greed that fuels people. And I just wish that there was an answer to it, but I don't know what that is, Chris. And when you see all of this corruption and you see these rich people getting away with, violating little girls and all these Epstein files, not getting unredacted and getting released, it just goes and it makes the rest of us say, you know what, man, if you have a certain income level, you get access to power, and you can end up being above the law. And that's where, if that corruption continues to spread, then people lose trust in the system. And when people lose trust in the system, then what ends up happening? That's when you start to get dissatisfaction. You start to get friction. And if that friction blows up into a powder keg, that's when you've got revolution that happens. So obviously I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but if you paint the dots and you just paint that picture out, into perpetuity, that's reason why people end up going from being in a place where, in Germany, people are living their lives, having a nice, prosperous world. And then the economy shifts, a strong man rises up, and people start to focus on that. And that's how you get the rise of Nazism. These things happen. It happened in Russia. It happened in Germany, and it happened in Japan. It happened in China. There's no way that anybody in their right mind could say that it cannot happen in current times. Even though we have access to more information, when the economy breaks down, it can explode and turn like that.
Yeah, Germany's economy is not doing really well right now. I mean, they're just announced like the cuts and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's always dangerous whenever you stop making merit the top rewarding currency.
100% agree.
It's the only way to measure. It's the only way to reward and measure reward, because it's time put in, it's effort put in, it's work put in, it's enterprise value created. So it's just like it's insane when people say, "Oh, Elon Musk should be worth $1 trillion." Come on, guys, think about enterprise value. The dude pays more taxes than God himself does, right? I mean, obviously that's a joke, but to make it facetious or to make it a little obscene, but he does. I mean, the amount of the base that he pays, and we're not even talking about the fact that all the employees he employs and the payroll taxes. And
he doesn't pay as much income tax per dollar he makes, but the amount of overall net taxes he pays is an order of magnitude over anybody.
For a second, this is where the socialists don't understand this. Think about all the jobs he created. Okay. Now think about all the tax returns that have to get filed because of all the jobs he created. Do you see that? Are you seeing
Absolutely.
the multiplicational factor of what is happening in the world today when you see
Just
this?
take Twitter by itself. The tax base that's created by the income tax generated because that company.
It's just look.
Then we didn't talk about Tesla. We didn't talk about Boring. So does he have his issues? Yes,
of
but
course.
Is he the most influential, arguably the most influential, consequential human being that's ever lived?
Yes,
He takes that from an economic standpoint, I don't think you could objectively disagree with that. That's it, man. That's it. That's it, man.
If you like, subscribe, comment. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Conversation has given you clarity on your next steps. Please share this episode with someone who's walking the same path. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. And remember, planning ahead isn't just prudent, it's an act of care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Family Office.